Hey gang, it's me, the bad news bearer. I say that because last week I taught you that there are 3 diseases that adhere to the estrogen window of opportunity. They are heart attack, osteoporosis, and Alzheimer's disease. And today we're going to talk about how your risks for those 3 diseases are affected by the estrogen window of opportunity. So here I am, Menopause Barbie, your menopause tailor, and we are tailoring things to the estrogen window of opportunity. Please, 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 if you don't watch any other video, please be sure you watch this one. And force all your friends to watch it with you. You could save your life and their lives with this one video. It's really, really that important. You see, this is the stuff that nobody tells you. Nobody except me, of course. So let's begin by reflecting on the definition of the estrogen window of opportunity that we discussed in the last tutorial. The estrogen window of opportunity refers to a limited period of time in your early postmenopause when taking estrogen replacement can prevent or reverse some of the life-threatening diseases that are associated with menopause. So today we're going to address those specific diseases. And we're going to start with the biggest, heart attack. Now, first, I'll tell you the bottom line. And then, I'll tell you why that's not what you heard. Okay, so here's the bottom line. If you are a healthy woman under the age of 60 or within 10 years of becoming postmenopausal, estrogen replacement therapy will prevent or decrease your risk of a heart attack. I'm going to repeat that for you. If you are a healthy woman under the age of 60 or within 10 years of becoming postmenopausal, estrogen replacement therapy will prevent or decrease your risk of a heart attack. Now, here are the individual pieces of what I just told you. I said healthy. That means you don't smoke, you are not morbidly obese or significantly overweight, you have not already had a heart attack, stroke, or blood clot, and you don't have high blood pressure, diabetes, or some other chronic disease. In other words, you would be taking estrogen replacement simply for the symptoms of menopause without reason to have side effects from it. The next factor is that you are under the age of 60 or within 10 years of becoming postmenopausal. So now this means one of 2 things. Either it means it hasn't been more than 10 years since your own body was producing estrogen itself, or it means that it hasn't been more than 10 years since you stopped taking estrogen if you used to take it but stopped. See, this is the part that refers to your estrogen window of opportunity. The key is to understand that your body has been used to estrogen for as long as it can remember. You see, estrogen is something that your own body produced all your adult life, and your body loves the stuff. Estrogen isn't some foreign poison or a toxin, quite the contrary. But if you've gone too long without it, certain changes associated with aging have already occurred that estrogen would have prevented. But since you didn't take estrogen for an extended period of time, your body is no longer healthy with regard to its ability to tolerate estrogen. In other words, it's the absence of estrogen that has caused damage. And once the damage is done, it becomes unsafe to take estrogen. Here's an analogy. I've been vegan for over 40 years. At the time of this video, I am 58 years old. I became a vegan when I was 16, okay? I eat no animal products at all. No meat, no dairy, nothing with a face or a mother. Now, when I first became vegan, my body still had the enzymes necessary to digest animal products. If I had been a vegan for only, say, a couple years and then decided to eat meat and dairy again, I would have been able to eat them and digest them without any problem. Why? Because not enough time would have passed for my own body to stop producing the enzymes necessary to digest meat and dairy products. But as the years started piling up, my body stopped producing those enzymes for digesting meat and dairy. So if I ate meat or dairy now, oh, it would make me very, very sick. So my body has lost its ability to make use of animal products. I just can't handle it anymore. So now, going back to estrogen replacement therapy, healthy women who have been postmenopausal for less than 10 years benefit from estrogen. But unhealthy women or women who have gone more than 10 years postmenopause without estrogen therapy don't. Now, I know that's not what you heard. You heard that estrogen replacement increases your risk of a heart attack. And you heard it in 2002 when the media reported the findings of the WHI study. WHI stands for Women's Health Initiative. Now, much later in this series, we'll discuss that entire study, but today, I'm just giving you a tiny piece of it for purposes of this video. The problem with the WHI study is that the women they studied in that research study were not healthy. And the average age of the women they studied was 63. That means significantly more than 10 years had passed since they had become postmenopausal. It's no wonder that those unhealthy women, more than 10 years postmenopause, had more heart attacks. Too much time had passed. They were well beyond their estrogen windows of opportunity. Are you starting to see how this works? Timing is so important. That's why it's my pet peeve that all these women out there are too scared to take estrogen precisely at the time when it can help them the most. And what's the consequence of forfeiting the estrogen window of opportunity to prevent a heart attack? 1 out of every 2 women dies of a heart attack. That's more than the number of deaths from all the cancers combined. So you're seeing this big important thing about time, the estrogen window, and how it can affect your risk for heart attack. What about osteoporosis? We go on to your bone, right? Now, osteoporosis, the word osteoporosis means bone loss. And osteoporosis begins when you become postmenopausal. Why? Because bone loss is a direct result of estrogen loss. Period. It's that simple. Estrogen loss equals bone loss. It's like a simple equation. So this is what normal bone looks like with estrogen. And this is what osteoporotic bone looks like without estrogen. Bone loss. There's not as much bone here. It's full of holes. That's the difference. Okay, so guess what? In the first 5 years of your postmenopause, that's when you lose the most bone. In those first 5 years, you lose 2% of your bone per year. After that, you lose 1% of your bone per year for the rest of your life. Every year, 1%. That is, unless you take estrogen. It's like your bones go through shock at the fact that there's no estrogen around anymore. So 5 years after you become postmenopausal, you've already lost 10% of your bone. This is that time frame when the estrogen window of opportunity applies. If you took estrogen during those years, you wouldn't lose that bone. But once it's gone, it may be impossible to get it back. Okay, so now what if you're a woman who is afraid to take estrogen when you first become postmenopausal? And you let 5 years go by. You could be well on your way to osteoporosis before you do something about it. What if you had no idea that most of your bone loss would occur in the early postmenopausal phase? You might miss out on your estrogen window of opportunity to prevent osteoporosis. Are you seeing how this estrogen window of opportunity actually makes sense? In fact, everything in science and medicine makes sense. It's always logical. Science is fact-based. That's why I teach you the way I do. I don't have to tell you what to do. All I have to do is explain the facts to you. And understanding the facts is much more powerful than just doing what someone tells you to do, or being scared to do something, or having no idea what to do. So when I teach you, I'm just giving you the facts. I'm not trying to encourage you to do one thing or another. I have nothing to sell you. I gain nothing one way or the other by what you do for your menopause. But I want you to know everything. I want you to have a full fund of knowledge with which to make your decisions, okay? So, what about Alzheimer's disease? Okay, let's go on to that one. Do you remember when I introduced you to this book called The Female Brain by Dr. Lou Ann Brizendine? Okay, this book is very, very interesting. When we talked about it with regard to the effect of estrogen replacement during the estrogen window for forgetfulness, which is just a short-term symptom of your menopause, right? And I told you that there were two parts to the brain: the short-term effects and the long-term effects. And I explained that your brain is used to being bathed in estrogen. And without it, you notice that foggy thinking and that inability to remember things and, your loss of wit. And I told you that when it comes to the short term, taking estrogen will improve your ability to remember things and think more clearly anytime you take it. If you take estrogen, you'll immediately notice that you're thinking more clearly. In other words, the estrogen window of opportunity doesn't affect the short-term functions of your brain. I mean, you could start taking estrogen anytime and your thinking will be clearer. But oh, how different it is for the long-term functions of your brain. Study after study after study shows the same thing. Your brain loves and needs estrogen, period. And the longer you go without it, the higher your risk for Alzheimer's disease, period. So as soon as you become postmenopausal, your brain starts freaking out at the fact that there's no estrogen around, and it starts shrinking, literally. And here's the really, really, really critical part. Any shrinkage is permanent. You can't reverse it. Your brain is very unforgiving. If you lose it, it's gone forever. There's no reversing the consequences of being without estrogen on your brain in the long term. So the estrogen window of opportunity with regard to your brain is all about preventing the disease in the first place. And estrogen just happens to be the most important and most effective way to do that. So there you have it. One principle that is critical to 3 of the most devastating diseases you can have after menopause. So what's this principle of the estrogen window of opportunity really all about? It's a reflection of the fact that your body needs estrogen, and without it, your body begins to age and become damaged. If enough time goes by that it becomes significantly damaged, then taking estrogen will not reverse the damage and cannot prevent these 3 diseases. These are the diseases of aging because of estrogen loss. If you haven't addressed your estrogen window of opportunity with your physician, please take that opportunity to do so. Of course, you know that every woman is different and estrogen replacement isn't for everyone. But I sure don't want you to be one of the women who finds out about it when it's too late. It's a time-limited offer to prevent 3 very significant health risks. So address it before your estrogen window of opportunity closes. And that's where I will close today. I hope I didn't scare you too much. My goal is never, ever to scare you. It's to arm you with information. If you're already past your estrogen window of opportunity, I'll have plenty of next best options for you when we get to these diseases. I'll always give you options in every category for everything that happens in menopause, both short-term and long-term. You'll always get everything in diet, lifestyle, vitamins, minerals, herbals, botanicals, hormonal medications, non-hormonal medications, acupuncture, hypnosis. I will always cover all of it. But I'm not going to beat around the bush when it comes to the fact that some things actually are more important or better than others. Okay, that does it for now. Be sure to follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Go to my website, menopausetailor.me. I have all sorts of great things for you there. Articles, consultations, DVDs of my seminar. You can sign up for a seminar. You can do anything on my website. Go to my website. And until next week, I'll see you then. Bye.